I'm John Riley here at the Fish, Wildlife and Parks headquarters in Helena, joined today by Director Christy Clark, the new Director of Fish, Wildlife and Parks. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very excited.
So for those who maybe don't know, can you let our viewers know a little bit about your history in Montana and with state government?
Sure. So my history is I grew up on a ranch on the Rocky Mountain front, and I was a legislator while we were ranching. My husband and I raised 3 children in the ranching environment, and then while I was ranching, I ran for state office. I served 3 terms in the legislature. After 3 terms, I didn't want to run for office anymore, but I still wanted to advocate for agriculture. I went literally from May of the legislative session to October that year. I started working for Montana Department of Agriculture. I was eventually appointed the director for Montana Department of Agriculture by Governor Gianforte, and I served in that role until 3 days ago, and I'm now currently the director for FWP.
Perfect. And to talk about that, why did you want to head Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks, and what are your hopes for the agency?
Oh, great question. I wanted to head this agency because I think this is such an opportunity for Montana, and I think that the work that the Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks does is some of the most, if not the very most important work that we do in the state of Montana. And so it was a real honor when the governor asked me if I would be the director and appointed me, and I'm thrilled to be here. My hope for this agency, my intent behind taking this position is to build consensus. I obviously come from an agricultural background, and there's a lot of consensus building and a lot of collaboration that we can do to help better understand and better serve the citizens of Montana.
Perfect. Now, we're heading into the Montana legislature soon, and you have experience as a former legislator. I know that you're very new into FWP, but are there any specific topics you'll be advocating for the department during the session?
Yes. I will be advocating for the employees and the people that work here that are passionate about what they do. They're professional and they do such a great job. I will be making sure that that continues, that our legacy at FWP continues. But most of all, I'll make sure that there's not bad ideas that will interfere with us doing the work that we need to accomplish.
And speaking of that work, to go into one of the biggest issues, that I think FWP will be dealing with probably currently and in the future, grizzly bears.
Yes.
While they're still federally protected, there's been a big push to delist them. Is Montana ready to manage the Northern Continental Divide and the greater Yellowstone populations?
Are we not only ready, we are enthusiastically ready. Yes, we are absolutely confident that it's time that the state have the ability to manage grizzly bears. Ranching on the Rocky Mountain front, you can imagine I had no shortage of grizzly bear conflicts, and worked closely with Fish, Wildlife and Parks and their folks, and we did a good job of managing those and mitigating those conflicts. It's time that the state take control of that management. They've done a fabulous job already, and I think it's time that the federal government get out of our way and give us that opportunity.
And again, I know that you are new to FWP, but what does that management look like?
Well, there is a grizzly bear management plan that the state holds, and so we will be adhering to that, and that's part of what we'll be doing throughout the legislative session, is making sure that we're furthering that agenda so that we don't accidentally maybe pass bills that would run contrary to that management plan.
Now, there has been notable turnover at FWP, specifically management, in recent years, and the legislative audit for wardens described a lack of trust in leadership. As director, how will you address those concerns and retain employees?
Sure, that's something I've thought a lot about, and please be cognizant, this is day 3, but what I can tell you is that every person that I have met on staff, and I had an entire day with leadership yesterday, everybody has been more than professional. I've seen passion for what they do, and I'm really looking forward to leading this agency. I don't see any changes on the horizon. I'm going to be here to listen. I'm going to be here to understand, and I'm going to be here to offer, empathy and compassion for this agency. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know the employees and understanding how I can better help them accomplish their mission.
Now, as you've mentioned, you have a ranching background and led Montana's agriculture department. How do you see the role between FWP and Montana's farmers and ranchers?
I see that role very much overlapping. Agriculture and FWP share a lot of the same common goals. Agriculture and FWP are connected, and what I want to see is I want to see us collaborate more. I want to see us find more ways that we can assist and partner with landowners, ranchers, sheep producers, whoever they might be, so that we can provide them with the best structure to allow public access on their lands. I want to see that partnership strengthened even more. Like I said, in my history of working ranches, I worked very closely with FWP, and I found that that partnership works really well. And so we'll be looking for ways to build those bridges and to strengthen those relationships.
Now, to talk about landowners, block management. It's a big part of FWP's land access programs, although we've seen a decline in participation. How do you see that program moving forward, and are there any changes that need to be addressed?
I'm not sure that we have any changes that necessarily need to be addressed, but I think education and outreach is always helpful. I want to be able to give landowners all the tools in the toolbox, because part of managing your land responsibly is making sure that those resources are harvested. And it's all about balance. And so I didn't personally ever have anything in block management, but I know we allowed a lot of public access because we needed to balance that resource. We needed to make sure that, the whitetail population wasn't overly abundant on our place, and that required assistance from the public to help us harvest those animals. And so as FWP director, I'll just be looking for more ways that we can assist and partner with people that own land.
Now, often we talk about the fish and wildlife part of FWP, but parks are a big part of FWP too. With the state seeing record numbers of visitors to our state parks in recent years, what is your vision for the management of Montana's state parks?
Well, again, I'm going to have to rely on day 3, and I'm not as familiar with the parks side of this. I do know that there is a lot of pressure on that parks department because everybody wants to be a part of Montana's parks, and that should be celebrated. And I want to make sure that the folks that manage that resource have all of the tools that they need and all of the support from leadership in fish, wildlife, and parks to be successful. As we see these pressures, increase, Montana's very popular right now. I just want to make sure that we're supporting those folks that are on the front line.
Is there anything else you want to say that we haven't covered so far? Or do you think people should know?
What I want people to know is that I am delighted to be here. I'm very enthusiastic about this position, and I think my background with agriculture and moving forward into this is a very nice marriage. And so I'm grateful to the governor for this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Director.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.